So when we decided to put this call together, which we think is relevant because of Sony Music re-releasing your catalog in January and February, Philly International's 50th anniversary through 2021, and you guys signed to that label.
Well, actually, we just signed to Epic.
Yeah, yeah. So Epic, so at that time, CBS, before it was Sony, it was Epic in Columbia, and you guys were on the Epic side.
Right.
So what I wanted to do, instead of just sort of a normal, one-on-one kind of thing, is I spoke to Lenny, and he was gracious enough to come on, and we just want to have this candid conversation because, as I mentioned, Marlon, before you jumped on the call, I'm 64, and I remember when I was about 9 years old, singing along to the Jackson 5 on 45s and on 8-track. And I remember it like it was yesterday. When I was raised in New York City, when my contemporaries, when my friends were listening to rock and roll, I never connected to that music. I connected to R&B, and I don't know why, I just did. So I can tell you that I have basically no rock and roll records in my collection, and the lion's share of my records are R&B records because. So
that was your feel-good spot.
It has been to today, through to today. So my ability to speak with you and with Lenny, you guys are legends. I'm like a 7-year-old kid now. My sleeves are getting longer. My pant legs are dragging. And so I just want to say, without going on ad nauseum, how grateful I am to speak with you.
Oh, thanks.
Oh, thank you.
It means the world to me. So with this chat, it's just sort of a table talk conversation. As I mentioned, Marlon, before you jumped on, nothing that's being recorded will go out to anybody until each of you approve it. So feel free to say whatever you want to say. There are a couple of things that Lenny and I want to talk about with you. And if you're not comfortable talking about them, no worries, move on.
Don't worry, we'll let you know.
Okay, bet you will. Lenny, why don't you jump off?
Well, I just want to go back, if you don't mind, let's go back to 1976, man. How did it come about? How did the turnaround come about? What did you guys kind of wanted to, you knew you were, obviously you guys got older, and with growth and with maturity and with wanting to do your own thing a little differently, you were ready for the next step up. I just want to know, what do you remember most about 1976? Because that was the transitional period that you left the Motown thing and you stumbled onto Epic. And of course, that stumbled you into working with two of the most prominent producers in the game, Kenny Gamble and Leon Huff.
Well, I remember being signing with Motown, it's like going to a college. You learn so much being around so many professional songwriters and staff members at the company. And they not only just teach you how to record, but they show you how to write a song, how to write lyrics in a song. And you learn so much being around so many great writers, and we learned so much at that particular time. And they wrote a lot of hits for us. I mean, some of our biggest hits ever. I mean, it's still going on today, was written by Motown. But during 1976, we learned so much. We figured, and it was time for our contract, was about to expire too as well. And we decided we wanted to write some of our own songs. People can feel songs coming from us, our personality, putting our own input into a song. And Epic gave us that chance to do that. Epic wanted us to do that. We went over to Epic. They said, you can write your own songs. I think at that particular time, we were ready to move on to the next level. You know what I'm saying?
But they did not give us to write the whole album. We were allowed to write about 3 or 4 songs. And Gamble and Huff, known writers.
From the very beginning, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, at the beginning, Gamble and Huff, known writers, known producers, had a bunch of hits. they were going to do the rest of the album. So we all worked together. And we say,
Got it. Tito,
And that,
Tito, you want to jump in on that?
Yeah, it was 2 or 3 songs. First, Philly International epic record, and I just remember us not really. We had songs, but we didn't know which one to choose, and so we finished the song up in the hotel room. I remember that, and
I don't remember that one.
in the yeah, in the whole,
and that,
because we had gone to Philly just for something like 2 weeks, a
Yes.
week,
Oh,
10
really?
days.
See, I don't remember. I was younger then, so I don't know.
We did a whole album in 2 weeks, right, Tito? Remember that?
Dad,
Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
that. Yeah, we
Remember
should
that.
have did.
and that
And
album
we didn't have our.
that actually spawned two of your biggest records with Enjoy Yourself, right?
That's right.
And Show You the Way to Go.
You way to go. That's right.
That's
He's
right.
He's
That's right. And point of fact, I just did a little research, thank God for Wikipedia, but there was a record that Tito wrote with Michael called Style of Life,
Yeah, you got
right? So that was one of the 3 original comps, right?
Right.
But you did some due diligence, huh?
Well,
No.
it's when you're a fan, it's easy. I mean, you just do. But so about Philly International, so you leave Motown, and I believe at Motown, you were not really given any creative control. Right?
No.
You basically,
No,
here are the songs, this is the time, and you're to record. And obviously, a couple of your records ended up in the Library of Congress, right?
Right.
Yes.
Which is, to have one of them is incredible, but to have 2 of them is unbelievable. It's just part of the accolades, right? That was with I Want You Back in ABC, both of those, right?
Mhm.
So you then go over to Philly International, and now you're mentored by Kenny Gamble and Leon Huff, who also, that repertoire, the Mighty 3 catalog, with Tom Bell, the arranger, and also co-writer.
So
They allow you to do your thing, right?
So can you imagine that kind of degree going from the Motown educational school, then hopping on over to Philly International?
Oh,
I mean, you can't ask for something better than that. I mean, just what you don't realize when you're doing these things, singing these records and in the studio, it's also teaching you at the same time structure, format, how to go from one part of a song to another part, then going back to the part to get people hooked. All those things play a main part. Then Gamble and Huff had a totally different style than the Motown writers. So there's another element that you can pull from when you start doing your own music. So we had a great schooling on how to write music, how to do music, how to get away from a groove and the song and the structure, and then go back to it to make it sound like it just started again and make it fresh. And those type of things don't happen today. They get one song and I mean one note and whatever, and they kill it for the entire song. There's no movement. There's nothing that can grab you and take you in this direction and pull you back over here. It's
In other words, you're
the
saying
depth in a lot of
in other words, you're saying the music don't take you on a journey.
it doesn't
Yeah.
take you on a journey today.
story.
It sure doesn't.
So
So-
is it true?
I'm sorry, go on.
No, Lenny, please.
Well, I just wanted to know, obviously you guys, before you came to Philly International to work with Gamble and Huff, you guys probably heard about them, and obviously you were loving some of the
Come
music
on
that
now.
they did for some
Come
other
on
people.
now. Cowboys the girls.
Yeah, man.
Ah.
Oh, you know about those intruders?
Come on now.
Whoa, that one. A lot of people don't know that record.
Yo, that tells me a lot, Molly. Okay, you got some history. You're young, but you got some wisdom, a lot of wisdom.
Yeah, Molly got an old soul in him.
Yeah.
He's been around a long time.
Hey, Hey,
Don't go, right? Don't go.
let me tell you how old my toenails are backwards. No, I'm just kidding.
No, but I want to know what was it like, man, when you guys finally, like, all the paperwork is done, and now you guys are coming to meet up with Kenny Gamble and Leon Huff on the one-to-one. I don't know if y'all meet. What's the process of producer, artists? Like, you knew who they were. They were established. You knew they were hit makers. I knew you guys were ready to get in that studio and do your creative process, your natural gift. But what was that experience just sitting down with Kenny Gamble and Leon Huff, man? And what was funny about it?
Well, they were just amazing guys, you know. And one thing about them, before we start recording, they wanted to get to know us, you know, and we sit down with them and went to lunch.
Well,
I remember going
can
to.
you hear me? Because you broke up on me.
Am I breaking up?
No, you good.
No,
You go ahead.
no, you good, Jackie.
Yeah, they were just the two of those guys, you know, and Huff is on the keyboard and he can play some keyboard, man, let me tell you. And we sit down and we go over the songs every day and we go in the studio, man, just knock them out just like that. I mean, they were so fast and so quick how they do it. Who's the engineer named Joe what's his name? Huh?
Joe Torre.
What's his name, Marlon?
Joe Torre, yes.
Yeah, they had Joe
Sigma Sound.
as an engineer, and Joe. I guess Joe's wife would bring Italian food over for us to eat. We do all those kind of things. We eat Italian food, and it's like a family. I mean, they were the same way. They were like a family, easy to work with. I mean, I love working with Gamble and Huff. I mean, those guys are legends. They're legends. Even today, I mean, all the great hits they put out. Oh my God, amazing songs known around the world. You know. Everybody know who Kenny Gamble and Huff are. People know them.
Is it true? I'm sorry to interrupt. Is it true that when you would go to their legendary offices, which was also Sigma Sound in Philly, right?
Mm-hmm.
That you would write the song in 1 day or 2 days, and as soon as it's written in a writing room, you go straight to record it?
Absolutely. That's how they
Something
work.
that's not done anymore, right?
That's how they work. You go straight to the studio and record.
You cut the demo at the end of the day.
While it's fresh.
Right. As it was told to me by Kenny Gamble, at the end of the day, their staff songwriters would go down to Kenny and Leon's offices, which was separated by a hall, right?
Mm-hmm.
With these little reel-to-reels. They'd pop the reel-to-reel in, right? And Kenny Gamble, if you remember this, he used to sit in a throne. He didn't have a desk chair. He had a desk, and his desk chair was a throne.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, he's right. He's right.
Right.
You don't remember that, Marlon? His seat.
And at the end of the day, right, he'd pop in these little reel-to-reels, and he'd listen. And Leon, who had an office down the hall, they'd open the doors, and these guys would listen together.
Uh-huh.
I don't think the artists were ever involved in that. I think just the songwriters, right?
Right.
And then he would say, in the words of Kenny Gamble, Kenny never said good. He says good. He'd say, that's a good one. That's a good one. But you see that process I find fascinating, because now it's incredibly different, where artists are not in the same room. This guy's doing the backing track in Los Angeles. A week later, the guy does the lead, the keyboard players in Minneapolis. Everybody's all over the place.
All over the place.
But Jackie, whose idea was it to have you and Mike do the lead on Enjoy Yourself? Was it Kenny and Gamble, or was it you and Mike?
No,
I guess it was Kenny Gamble decided he wanted me to sing the second lead, you know, with Michael. I didn't want to do it, but he said, "Man, you sound great. Go ahead, take a shot at it."
Why didn't you want to do it?
I was kind of shy a little bit, you know. Michael was mostly the lead singer, and he said, "Jackie, you sound great. Go ahead and do it," and I did, you know. So.
I've always been fascinated by, artists who have, well, we call them lifers. People that will work for life. And you guys are 56 years old now as an act.
Mm-hmm.
What I find interesting is in the case of the Jackson Five, then Jackson, so you leave Motown, but Jermaine stays.
Mhm.
What was that like?
It's devastating.
Yeah,
It hurt a
each
lot.
brother have a different
Yeah.
perspective on it. Yes,
Yeah, and
it was devastating and it was hurt, but we did respect his decision because he had a right to do what he wanted to do, and so he chose to stay. And we moved on. We moved on to Epic Records, and
but it,
to,
but it
to
didn't
get
take
some
him
more
long to
hits.
get back. It didn't take him long to get back, though.
Right.
He told me,
How long did it take? How long did it take?
well,
Minute and a half.
First of all, we were doing these concerts around the world. And we looking at the audience. Jermaine was in the audience watching us.
Really?
Yeah, he was in the.
So
Yeah,
did Randy take Jermaine's place?
Yes, he did.
with him and Teddy Pendergrass. Well, Randy did some things with us as we were the Jackson Five, but he just moved up. But I remember Jermaine telling me how he and Teddy Pendergrass were in the audience watching us when we came to Philly one time. And so he was itching, scratching to get back up there. You know.
Yeah,
And welcome with open arms, I imagine.
yeah, of
That
course.
happens.
So here's my next question. There are some artists, I mean,
Yeah.
Jackie, you mentioned that, you were shy
Now,
and
that may have been different if he wasn't a brother.
but
What?
Jackie, you mentioned that you were shy and Michael always seemed to have the spotlight, right? Now there are some artists in acts that I know that they don't want the spotlight. In fact, it's overwhelming for them. And there are some artists who only want the spotlight.
Right.
My question is this. I'm the kind of guy, although nobody wants me singing, believe me, nobody. I'm the kind of guy that it would be very difficult for me not to have the spotlight. What was it like for each of you to have the youngest of the lot, right? One of the youngest of the lot, having the spotlight. You guys are a very close-knit family. Do you know what I'm trying to say? I mean, I'm sorry, I'm not
In other
verbal.
words, let me
can
say, I think you were trying to say, was there any kind of controversy going on between your brothers because one had more spotlight than the. No, it wasn't, because we've been doing this as kids. I mean, it was second nature to us. Hey, that's the way it works. That's what happened. I mean, when it's Jackie time to sing whatever he was singing, it didn't matter to us. It really didn't matter to us because we were a group, the Jackson Five. And that was the foundation of all the other offsprings. And I had somebody tell me, let me tell you something, Marlon. If there wasn't such thing as Jackson Five, I don't know if there would have been a Michael Jackson or Janet Jackson, but this or that one. The Jackson Five springboard is the thing that the foundation that was the beginning and that built everything from that point forward.
Well, you guys were called the first family of music, right?
Yeah. But let me
Yeah, that's what they call us.
Yeah, let me go back to that. I remember us as a group and doing well. But all of a sudden, Michael sprung out and was doing his thing. And why not put him up front? A guy had so much showmanship and what he was doing. It was amazing what he was doing. Michael and Marlon both and stood out with the dancing and singing and everything. And why not put him up front? He was a showman. And that's what we wanted, it's a group. And he was just incredible as a little kid. He was incredible. So people loved him.
I remember Smokey Robinson sharing a story with me once about the song "Who's Loving You,"
Mm-hmm.
and he said he did that for the Miracles.
Right.
And then Mr. Gordy heard it. He said, "Michael sings it with conviction."
Mm-hmm.
And he's a young guy. So, Michael always had that. We're all destined for something in life. And sometimes some people find it harder or quicker than others. But obviously he was destined, and all of you were destined to be where you are today. And, I'm grateful that I adopted each and every one of you, as every Black family in the world did, as my
Thank you,
brothers.
truth be told.
And because you had music to touch our souls, but the way you conveyed it, and when these cartoons things came along, that just brought it over the top and around the corner for everyone. The Jackson 5 cartoons was like, you wake up Saturday mornings, you had to look at it. You had to know about Ray and Charles and Rosie and everybody else under the sun. So when you guys, even though you guys had grew up on Motown, in that transitional period when Michael's voice, I'm assuming, changed a little bit and got much more, mature, it wasn't hard for Mike and for all of y'all to adapt to the new environment at Philly International, right?
Yeah. And I think that's one of the things a lot of people thought that would be different about the Jacksons. They didn't know where the group was going to go with voice change and growing older. So I think some of the companies, matter of fact, I spoke with the president of MJJ Records at one time, and I asked him, I say, his name is Jerry. I said, Jerry, what's the biggest mistake you think you made in the business? He said, Tito, I can shoot myself in the head right now. He said, I don't know if you remember this, but you guys came down to audition for me. At that time, I was the president of Atlantic Records. And I sent my nephew, Kenny Commissar, and he came back bragging how great you guys were and this and that. And say, but strange thing, I did not sign you guys. And now here I am working for the biggest family in the business, running their brother's record label. And he said, that's the biggest mistake I've ever made. And I heard that Barry Gordy says the same thing. His biggest mistake was letting the Jackson 5 go. He should have kept them, given them anything they wanted.
Was that Jerry Greenberg?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, Jerry. Exactly.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was Jerry Greenberg. And
Yeah,
Jerry
Greenberg, yeah.
Jerry Greenberg. There you go.
Yeah.
And it's so
oh, Jerry.
So 11 years at Motown, one album with Philly International and Epic, and then you make the jump to go direct to Epic. And then you end up having.
We did the Going Place album too, didn't we?
Yeah.
Again?
The Going Place album.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The Going Place is
right. But what I find interesting is, obviously everybody knows about the Jackson 5, right? I mean, the legends, right? And then we know about Michael. But what I was always interested in is the Jacksons, the story of the Jacksons. Individually and collectively. Tito, I have to ask this question, and this is one of the first questions I wanted to ask, which will tell you a lot about me. I'm the king of minutia.
Mm-hmm.
Even on Lenny's shirt, you're the only one who wears a hat. Mm-hmm. And I remember back in the day, to show you how old I am, it used to be called an apple hat.
Applejack.
Exactly.
Right. Why were you selected? Did something happen? Did you go on stage with a hat and then it became this thing?
No,
and you're wearing the hat now.
Yeah, well, it's that I don't like to comb my hair that much. I like to go all day without combing my hair, so it's easier to put on a hat.
That's a true story.
Is that how it started?
That's a true story.
That's how
he's telling the truth.
I love it. I love this.
Yeah,
Brad, he's telling you the truth. And Lenny.
And then it became a signature.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. See?
Take
Lenny, I had no idea.
And now it's the style that
I'm loving this.
Now it's the style that nobody combs their hair, right, Tito?
Oh, I love it.
Nobody combs their hair, right?
So, Mama, y'all gave Mama.
Some of us don't have hair to comb.
Y'all gave Mama Jackson a hard time. I don't know about y'all. Who was tender-headed, or what? All of you are tender-headed.
We used to get our hair braided a lot.
Who?
Yes, and used to braid our hair a lot, and then you undo it in the morning. You have a big fro.
Hey, tell the secret, Marlon. Tell the secret.
I can't relate. I'm
I
sorry.
know, I know.
However, if Lenny would be so kind, Lenny, can you tell us your story with Isaac Hayes?
Oh, well, just like Marlon, just like Marlon just shared, I used to get my hair cornrowed, but after a while, my mom didn't want to do it. So I had to learn how to braid my own hair because if I slept on my afro, it just wouldn't come out right the next day.
Right.
It looked like it shrunk, but if you braid it, it gave it that afro sheen blowout naturally before the
Ultra
afro sheen
sheen.
blowout came along. So years later, I'm started receding. So Isaac Hayes now becomes a radio personality at 98.7 Kiss in New York City. He's our morning man. And I said, Dad, you know what? It's starting to go up back a little here. And I saw my scalp up here. And I said, if I'm going to ask Isaac Hayes if he would do me the honors and shave my hair off. And during his show on the radio, he had razor in hand and he took that bad boy off. And I cried every time he went from the front to the back. And he said, trust me, you're going to have a different life. The women will love it even more once you get your hair off. And sure enough, I haven't turned back since since that moment in time. But Marlon, you hit the nail on the head. And I guess I went eventually and tried that Afro Sheen blowout kit, and it blew it all off for real, and probably thinned it out. But if I had stuck with it, then because growing up as a kid, man, this is what I don't know about y'all, but we were looking up to y'all when I was young. I was looking up to you guys, and I always saw, man, they got some bad afros. They always have good afros. It was nice and full and shaped. I'm like, I want my afro like that, like theirs. And that the only way to get it was to braid it.
I didn't braid mine.
Hey, let me tell you something. But back in those days, we didn't realize that all this was going on. We did the music because we just enjoyed doing music. And that's what we did. We were so accustomed to doing it from Gary, from little kids, and then on the big stage, it was no difference for us. We just had a great time doing it. It wasn't really work for us.
What a gift. They say if you love what you do for a living, you'll never work a day in your life.
But as I gotten older, you look back, because I used to always say to myself, what's so special about what we do? Because we've been doing it all our life, we don't think it's special. But once I got older and you look at the groups back in those days, pretty much almost every group was just alike. I mean, they moves were just alike. This was just alike. All those groups, and you look at the Jackson 5, and we were little kids, but we had a totally different style. We'd come together and do moves together, but then we all do our own thing or whatever. Then, there was a lot of animation on stage. It wasn't so in sync. It was run over here. It was just everywhere. And it created movement on stage. And then you got these kids singing these songs that were scared to a certain demographic, but the music was music that the adults love as well, not only just the kids. And the melodies which is a marriage to me. The music, the melody, and everything is a marriage. It just fit like you wouldn't believe. And I see kids today, or talk to some of the older people, used to tell me, man, my parents didn't want to take us to your concert. But when they got there and you all hit the stage, it got them too. And they became fans. And said, really? They said, yeah, man, because your stuff was a bomb, and the way you all perform on stage. And we didn't realize that because we're so accustomed to, doing it always that way. I mean, that's just the way we did it. We can not be on stage for a long time and come together, and just for some reason out of nowhere, it just clicks, all comes together. And that's been always.
With COVID, obviously, the tour that you guys were putting together and a lot of the dates that you were putting together are on hold right now. Hopefully, they'll be opening up toward the latter part of this year, according to what Steve told me. I want to go back a little bit. So you had mentioned to me, and I find this, very telling, that when you left Motown and you went to Philly International and Jermaine stayed, your heart was broken, right? Until he returned. Talk to me a little bit about when Michael decided to go on his own. How was that news presented to you? Did you guys discuss it? How did you feel about that, if you don't mind?
Well, during that time,
Well,
we were all adults. Oh, go on, Tito.
Yeah, but the way you said it, I don't think it's actually what it was. Uh, I don't think Michael ever went out on his own, because if you would ask Michael all the way up to his death day, he would have told you he's still in the group, the Jacksons. I think Michael's success, personally, I feel Michael's success dictated his journey. He was so successful and so in demand at that time during the 80s, and he was just destined to do what he had did, no matter where he was or who he was with, because really was the #1 record ever presented, so he had to get behind that. But there was plans for the Jacksons to get back together. I mean, when I said Jack, I mean all the members of the group, including Jermaine and Randy and Jackie and Michael and myself. Now, after the O2 Arenas, we were planning on meeting him at the end of that whole run and carrying it out to the rest of the world. But of course, that didn't happen. So, to say, how do we feel when Michael left? I don't think we felt anything. We knew we were going to do it again, and possibly try to do it on a larger scale than they had been done before. So we were all supportive. That's one thing I love about my family. No matter whether it's the Jacksons or the Jackson 5 or Janet or my sons 3T or Michael, whoever, we support and we hope for that longevity of hit record and win the Grammy and do the best you can. Because when you help one Jackson's out there doing it, it helps the whole family. And that's one thing that we have is a family legacy of artists and music and hit songs.
And going back to that, Michael had like 100 dates sold out for O2 Arena. And he said, I can't do 100, I'll do 50. He didn't want to do 50. He didn't want to do that many. But the demand was so on, it was so much of a demand. He had 100 dates. It's going to be sold out, 100 dates. And he wanted us to come in and help him with those 100 days, to carry on with those dates. But we never had a chance to do that.
Yeah. Did you guys confide a lot with each other?
Say it again.
Did you confide a lot with each other?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Lenny, you were going to say something.
Well, no, I was just, you could see the closeness in your family, and I only have one older brother, but I adopted you as my other brothers, and I couldn't have been the only ones in the world that done that. I mean, you became a part of our lives from the early stages to when you got older, and it was heartfelt, and it broke me up, unfortunately, when I learned of Michael's passing. And I'm like, wow, I'm getting emotional, and I'm not even related to you, but that's how much closeness musically and how we could relate to you. You had an impact on my life, and like I said, I'm certain that I was not the only one. So the presence of you guys coming into the studio when you did visit me at WBLS was like a dream come true for me. And I think what made it full circle for me, and this is the most silliest thing, was after we finished our conversation at WBLS, I think it was Jermaine first who asked where the bathroom was. I said, well, the bathroom is right over here. And then Tito came and said, hey, where's the bathroom? I was like, the bathroom is right over here, but it's only one, toilet.
Mm-hmm.
He goes into the bathroom. Then it was either you, Jackie, or Marlon came. I'm like, yo, hold on. Then one of us, he said, yo, man, look, we're from Gary, Indiana. There's nothing that my brothers have that I haven't seen growing up over the years. So I'm like, these dudes are real.
Oh, man.
These dudes
We grew up in that little small house. You keep
We had
forgetting.
one bathroom.
So and that house, that's 2300 Jackson Street.
Yeah.
So, but here's the interesting thing. As I understand it, it wasn't just the brothers.
Yeah,
I believe there were 11 people in that house,
absolutely.
right?
No way.
The brothers, Rebe
Uh-huh.
and Janet
Yeah.
and Latoya
Uh-huh.
and mom
Uh-huh.
and dad and one bathroom.
That's right.
Right.
No
I
way.
mean, that alone, let me tell you, that's the making of the oddest reality show I can come up with.
Yeah.
And that was not, I believe that house was not more than 700 square feet.
It's little.
Marlon's
Right.
garage is bigger than that house.
Say again?
Marlon's garage is bigger than our house. It is, for real.
Did you also rehearse in that house?
Yes.
Yes, we did.
Yes. Yes.
That's how it
Where?
all started.
Was there a basement?
No, no, we moved
Was it the
tables-
kitchen?
We moved the tables and chairs out of the way, and we set up, right, Marlon?
Yeah.
Right there.
Right in the living room.
Yeah.
It was a
Yeah,
living
put
room,
that
and
stuff
a
on.
kitchen, 2 bedrooms in the bathroom.
I love it.
That's what it was.
Is that fantastic? And Steve also told me that there's going to be a recreation of the house because I believe some of the original kitchen and
Mhm.
living room has been stored away, and it's going to be this exhibit.
Mhm.
We're talking about that, doing some things like that. with the
That is
house. Yeah.
fantastic. In
And,
fact, recently in Queens, New York, Louis Armstrong's house is now a museum.
Wow, that's so wonderful.
His original brick house, everything is intact. So people, and this is one of the reasons I wanted us to have this candid conversation, people, present company included, are fascinated by history.
Brad, when I went back to the house and I saw the house, me and my brother, I couldn't believe how small that house was.
Of course, yeah.
But as we were growing up, I thought it was a mansion. I really did.
Remember, when you're smaller in height, things look larger.
Man, when I went back and saw that, I couldn't believe. Man, I took 2 steps and I was out the back door. How
So-
small that house was, I couldn't believe it.
What do they say? You put the key in the lock and you break a window on the other end of the house.
Yeah. That's
So,
how small it was.
it's 11 of you in this house, and obviously the kids are growing up, and the girls are doing their thing, and the guys are doing their thing. And tell me a little bit about your mom and your dad. Tell me something that I don't know.
Well,
We
my
had a
mom
lot of
was an
kids.
avid my mom was an avid country and western fan. She loved country and western music.
She had like Hank Williams
Yeah.
and
And my
Jimmy
father,
D, King of the Road, and all those country songs.
yeah. So I remember the television breaks down and we had to wait, get some money to get it fixed. So we would sing country and western music with my mom. We would harmonize with her, singing country and western music around the house. People don't know this. And we would sing with her all the time. And my father had this band, called the Falcons, that he would play with constantly. And they would come over and play blues, and Tito would play with them, and we watched them entertain all the time. And that's where the music came from. Just watching my dad, my mom, and
Your uncle.
and my uncle, and just being with them and sharing music in that small little house that we had, all the time. And people would come in the windows and watch and peek in the windows, and we always had crowds of people in the window, whether it was my father's band playing or whether it was us doing our thing, and just loads of people in the windows all around the house watching us all the time. And that's what we were doing. And when we weren't doing that, we was playing basketball and we were playing baseball. We take the shovels and get the snow off the ground and go play basketball. That's what we
And
did.
cricket.
Mm-hmm. And we would see
Yeah.
Dick Barnett, the basket, Dick Barnett used to play for the Knicks.
Yeah.
He would pass by our house, bouncing the basketball all the time. Dick Barnett. Yeah. Dick Barnett.
Was there a moment when you guys were kids where your dad said, "This is going to be a group"? Or how did that happen?
No, my mom,
how did it happen?
my mom was the one that said, "Joe, You got to listen to your sons. They can sing. Them boys
Really?
can't sing, Kate. They can't sing. Joe, you got to listen to them. They can sing, Joe. That's what she would say to him. And he heard us sing. And when he heard us sing, he went out and started buying instruments. That's what he did. He went out. He went out.
Really?
Yes, he did. Didn't he, Tito?
Lenny, did you know any of this?
I did not know. No,
I
didn't know
knew
his mom.
nothing of this. And this is why
yeah.
this is so important. People know the Jacksons, they know your hits, they know the outfits, they know that you've toured all over the world, but they don't know the story.
Tito can do this. Tito can do the story better than me. Go ahead, Tito.
Come on, Tito. Give us something.
Say,
Give us
Tito,
the story.
go ahead, Tito.
Tito, give us the story. Come on.
He pretty much said it. You know, my father didn't believe it. He's telling my mother, Kate, those boys can't. He was telling us to shut up because he was working midnights and he wanted to get some rest before he had to go to work. Telling us to be quiet about it and stop making all that noise. And my mom was the one who convinced him, you got to listen to them, Joe. I think they got some talent. Them boys can't sing. Kate, they ain't got no talent. Joe just, I don't know. You should listen to them. And Jackie said the rest. After he heard us, he started buying mics, stands, and stuff, and bragging about us to his work. You know, telling his friends how good his boys got. One day his boys stars. You know, and
it's the same way.
So that
Same way that Dad did for the Williams sister. He used to brag on his daughters the same way. My father did us the same way, but he would never tell us. He would never say, "God, you guys are good." He would never say that to us. So when we see my father's friends would say, "Man, your dad talks about you guys all the time. He brags on you guys." We say, "He does?"
But never to you.
Never to me, never to us. He never.
Why do you think that was?
I guess he
Was
wanted
it sort
to
of
be
like
the
this.
He wants to be the
ruling
best
with
we
tough
can
love?
be. He wanted us to be the best we can be. That's what he wanted.
Yeah. So, and then we have the ladies of the house besides Mom, right? Rebe and Janet and Latoya, and what was that like?
They were making cookies and cakes all the time. What they would do.
Janet,
Yes.
Janet was 3 years old when the Jackson 5 first came on the scene. So she was just a little bitty thing.
But you know what? You could tell. You could tell by listening to Janet early on that Janet, she had that natural gift like all of you did.
Yes,
I'm looking at old episodes of Good Times. Old episodes. She had it. She had it. I mean, she had it. She just naturally had it, man. It's that the gift of music was planted and talent was planted in each and every one of y'all.
Fascinating legacy. And apparently there is a movie coming out, I think in a couple of years. A biopic,
Yes.
from what I understand, right?
Where you get that information?
I'm sorry? Sorry?
So where did you get that information from?
Where
did you get that information from?
I just,
Marlon's playing with you, Brad.
Okay. Obviously, I'm very susceptible, clearly.
Yeah.
Is there anything you guys want to say? We've already been talking for an hour, and I'm grateful for the time. Anything each of you want to say, or that people would like to, that you find interesting? Some of these stories, by the way, are priceless.
I like to thank all of our fans from around the world and for supporting this family for so many years, because this entertainment business is a rough business. It's a roller coaster ride, ups and downs. And our fans have been sticking with us from day one, and they're still out there today. I mean, even when we go out to tour, they're there supporting us all over the world, all over any place in the globe. They show up. I remember we were in Spain performing, and these people grew up with us, and a lot of them are doctors and lawyers, and they come backstage to meet us, and they start crying. And right in front of our faces, and what took you guys so long? What took you so long to come?
That was my friend.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it kind of brought tears to my eyes. It brought tears to my eyes. We were hugging each other, because they just wanted to see us. What took you so long?
Come back.
Yeah.
Well, they know you.
Yeah, it just they've been.
We do.
We have great fans.
I grew up with you.
Yeah,
I didn't know you, but
Yeah.
I wanted to know you. And it's interesting now, boy bands now like One Direction and a lot of others, the moment they get a couple of hit records together as an act,
right.
then each go their
Mhm.
separate way.
Yeah, but our fans felt like they were part of our family, and they felt that they felt like they were a part of us, part of the family with us, our family. And I always wondered why did they feel that way? How they said because you guys are so humble. They say you guys make us feel that way. You don't boast, you don't brag, you just do your thing, and we just love you guys, and I love them for that because they've been so honest and just been with us from day one, and they're still out there today. Yeah, and supportive, so supportive.
I just want to interject real quick. How's mom doing these days? Because I know it's hard with this COVID situation
Yeah,
going on, but how you guys check on her every day, or someone there with her
yeah,
every
just
day?
when Rebe stays with her, they stay together.
She's been fine.
She's over there decorating the house. That's what she's out there doing her thing. She's doing really
I
well.
I was just on the phone.
She really is. She's doing really well.
That's good. That's good. Please, you gotta give your mom an extra big
I was just on
hug.
the phone with her yesterday. She's been fine.
I sure will, Lenny. I'll let her know.
Please do. Please do. That's so important.
Yeah, she's
So
been
so
great.
with this COVID thing, which Brad had spoke about it a little earlier, this COVID thing has flattened the entire world. And I know you guys are eagerly waiting to get out there. I know there were some dates scheduled for this year. For last year that had to be canceled. What's your hope and what's your message to everyone about this COVID situation and hopefully seeing everybody?
Well, the last time we was on stage was in Indonesia, Jakarta, Indonesia, January of last year.
Yeah.
The end of January of last year, we were in Jakarta after we came back from that, everything shut down. I want people to be safe, take care of themselves, wear your mask, stay strong, stay at home, listen to what they tell you, because the life you save just may be your own. Because this is not about you, not about this. This is a true silent killer. And people who looks healthy or whatever, you never know. So, wear your mask, protect yourself, be safe, because tomorrow's not promised.
Like Marlon said, this silent killer has affected people around the whole globe, the whole world.
Whew.
Not just here in America. It's around the whole world. I've never seen nothing like this in my lifetime. And we're trying to keep our little ones safe as well. That's a job within itself. And like Marlon said, wear your mask, do the right thing, stay in the house if you can. And
because the life you save may be your own. That's the truth. You just don't know.
Stop, the love you save may be your own.
But the life you save may be your own.
That's what Marlon talking about.
Exactly. And as my mom used to say, Brad, keep your hands to yourself.
That's right.
That's right. Right. I also, it's amazing because, once you get older, well, sometimes when you're a kid, you think you know everything, but as you get older, your total perspective of life and your surroundings really change, and you have a different outlook on things. And as I've gotten older and looked at it, I kind of understand the blessing that the Lord gifted this family with. And music is a universal language. And not realize it as kids, we would travel to all these countries. A lot of them didn't speak English, but they knew the music. And you had different nationalities and ethnicities and things of that nature coming to your concert. We were unifying the world through our music, not realizing it. And that's the true blessing. That's what the Lord wanted, us to come bring the world together as one in unity and harmony and peace. And it was done through the music. And still today, music is a powerful, powerful mechanism used in the right direction and unifying this globe, because we all should be operating under one umbrella, and that's the umbrella of peace. And that's where we did, and that's what music does, great music. And that's what the Jacksons music has done throughout this, throughout the years we've been doing this. And we don't take it for granted, and we don't take the credit for it, because it was the blessing from the Lord, and we thank him for that. And we try to do what he wants us to do.
You have done it successfully, in my opinion.
Oh,
I
thank
think you guys may have a future in music. I think. I
Yeah.
mean, I think so. I'm going out on a limb on this, but I think if you hang in there, just hang
Yeah.
in there for a minute, you never know what's going to happen. Right?
Something might pop, huh?
Yeah, Marlon, you hang in there and study peace, Marlon. You might have a future in music.
You know,
Go.
and it's interesting. It's interesting what you were saying about the gratitude, and I think that there may be a connection, although I never knew your father, of not praising you to your face, which is connected to having gratitude and keeping a head about you. You know,
Yeah, that's true. That's
you
true.
know, and because there was a generation, I'll tell you this quick story, and I think it's somewhat relevant. My dad was an artist, and my father used to tell me a story when he was a little boy that he would come home from school with a piece of art. And his mother would put the art in a closet. But a friend of his, who my father said was not nearly as talented as him, his parents would put the art on the refrigerator with a magnet. And my father never said a word to his parents about this, but as he got older, and I think after he went to therapy, actually, he asked my grandmother, his mom, why did you do that? Why did you put my artwork in the closet where nobody could see it? And my friend's parents put their artwork on the refrigerator. And my grandma said, because back in those days, we were told not to praise our kids all too much because they would get a big head. Now, I don't know if all parents did that. You know,
Yeah.
my parents,
Mhm.
my mother never told me how proud she was of me. But when she passed away, all of her friends told me that.
Wow.
Wow.
See?
And I'm profoundly grateful to be alive,
Thank you.
healthy from what I understand,
Mhm.
to be on this call with Lenny and you. I mean, how did this happen? This is unbelievable.
You know, I got to pick you. I'm going to seal it. I'm going to seal it up like this. Each and every one of you have been blessed to have two parents in your lives. God put a different path in my direction. So I grew up in a single parent family. My mom and I had an incredible, wonderful, amazing, fine relationship. Love unconditional, beyond measure. In opposition to what you said, Brad, my mom would highlight everything. If I wanted to model, I have the worst pictures that is staying hidden until I'm gone. If these pictures ever get out, you will laugh until you're blue in the face. I said to be a model. Mom did everything within her power to try to get me a photo shoot. It was the worst photo shoot in history. My afro was so whack. Y'all would have said, cut your hair now. And I was probably only like 17. That's how bad it was. But I say all that to say, you know, it's interesting how life is, because my mom always taught me that God was my father. So I thought that I was very, very special, and still do. That God, you know, I had a special connection to God. So God is your father. God is not here. You can't see him, but God is your father. So I look at those like you who are fortunate to have had two parents. And even though I didn't have a male father in my path, I always knew that connection between God and myself. But my mom, and that's why I guess I inquired about your mom. Mothers have a special place in my heart. And I've watched your mom, because your mom is like an extension of my mom.
Sure.
And that's why you always got to embrace mom, man, no matter what. And I know you guys do. I just wanted to hear it, but I know you guys do. So my mom unfortunately transitioned a few years ago, and it's probably the most heart-wrenching situation I've ever been through in my life. So life is precious, and you're right, Marlon. You know, you got to save your own, and you got to think about your loved ones, and that's what it's all about. And you guys have definitely exemplified peace, and what most importantly, through your music and through the personalities of what we know in you, gave us a lot of love, and you continue to do so.
Thanks. Appreciate that.
Thank you so much.
Well,
Thanks.
hey guys, it was a pleasure speaking with you guys. Appreciate it. And all the
Yes.
fans out there, we thank you all for your support throughout these years, and we do not
Is
take
it-
it for granted.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for sharing some of the intimate moments with us. This is what makes people love you even more. You know, the honesty and the integrity in a world that's so superficial, where everybody's on their phone and nobody's paying attention. And if you don't text me back in 6 seconds, what's the problem? And
Right.
you know, it's about patience and kindness. And when I spoke to Steve, who was just so kind to arrange this with us, I said, you know, I don't want to take too much of the brother's time. And I said, you know, wish you would keep it to 15 or 20 minutes. And he said, you know, just have a chat, see what comes up. So I am beyond grateful. I can't thank you enough.
Thank
If there's a way that I can, let me know and I will do it.
Same here.
Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate you guys. Just keep lifting your prayers. That's all.
God bless you all. I thank you so much. Stay
Thank you.
safe, social distance, and wear masks.
Thank
That's it.
Thank you.
Okay, guys.
Bye.
Right.
Bye.
Nice talking to you all. Bye.
Bye, gentlemen. Bye-bye.